Do you need to be perfect to be with or attract your twin flame? Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about, do you have to be perfect to be able to attract or be with your twin flame? And no, you don't, because if we were perfect we wouldn't need to be here anymore, growing and learning on this earth plane. But you do need to be open, you do need to be prepared to admit to your own patterns and ways of being. You need to be able to admit to things, and you need to be able to be open to growing with a partner and being very, very upfront. So those are essential, because otherwise you can end up in that runner dynamic with somebody. They can run off or you can run off and all the intensity gets too much. So yeah, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be willing to be very, very upfront. There seems to be a very common misinterpretation that in order to be able to do a lot of things spiritually, you have to be perfect first. No, you don't. You've just got to be open and prepared to, own your own stuff, so to speak. If you've got funny patterns, or if you've been hurt badly in the past and you're a little bit uptight in relationships because of those past hurts, that's okay. That's all right. You're going to get triggered when you get into a relationship. We can heal a whole lot by ourselves, but certain things will only get triggered when you get close to somebody else. You won't feel those things if you're single, because those buttons don't get pushed. So as far as twin flames is concerned, they're going to push your buttons even more. So you've got to be prepared to go, oh wow, my buttons are getting pushed right now. I'm feeling really triggered. I want to either run away or fight. That's the time to go, hang on a minute, I need to own this, and to say to your partner, hey, listen, I'm really getting triggered here, and I know it's because of past stuff. I know it's not you doing this, but right now I need to take 5 or 10 minutes or half an hour, however long, just to process this and deal with this and be aware of it. So if you can do that, if both parties can do that, you're not going to get the runner dynamic happening, because both parties are focused on growing and owning their own patterns and things like that. But you can't do that on your own. I mean, sometimes, and I come across that quite a bit, and when I'm doing readings for people, that, one partner is a bit more spiritually aware than the other one. So if one is not aware and one is, then things can be a bit tricky, because one's trying to do all the positive stuff and grow the relationship, while the other one's fluffing around and still doing the same old. That creates problems. So yeah, it's about letting go of self-blame too. Sometimes it doesn't work with a twin at this point in time. The people are just at such different levels in their lives and such different stages. It's not going to work right now. But please remember, at a soul level, at a spiritual level, we have forever, we have eternity. It doesn't have to all happen right now. It might be even in the next lifetime that you can come together again and make it work, or later on in life, or it doesn't have to be right now. But I'm noticing so much self-blame and things like that. Oh, I'm not perfect enough to have my soulmate or my twin flame and things like that. A person who's prepared to say I'm not perfect enough or not healed enough is actually owning their own stuff. They're actually prepared to grow, because they're prepared to take ownership of what's going on for them. So they're actually in a really good place to be able to enter into a relationship like that. A person who's running around saying, oh, I don't have any baggage, I'm perfect, and then hooks up with somebody, they're more likely to actually run into trouble, because they're not prepared to own what's getting pushed in them, what's getting triggered, and things like that. So yeah, this whole needing to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. We need to give ourselves self-love to heal any old hurts and things like that, not judgment and condemnation. We need to be loving, caring and kind to ourselves And that is the way we heal. In the same way, when you come together with another person and old patterns get triggered, yeah, if you can own it and say, well, I'm getting triggered here. Hang on a minute, I need to deal with this. Your partner knows what's going on, and you're not likely to end up in a big conflict unless your partner's totally uninvolved and takes that as a threat. But most reasonable people would go, oh, okay, fair enough. That's cool. I know why you're feeling the way you are. That's fine. You've told me. So that is the key to making one of those relationships really work for you, is that openness, is that total honesty and authenticity. Authenticity is so important, being very, very real, being very, very upfront about where you're at. And that is much more important and much more spiritual than trying to be perfect. Because we actually, it's not all that grim and serious. We're actually here as spiritual beings, playing with all these energies, experiencing them, and experimenting and things like that. That's what our spiritual self wants to do. So it's only our personal perspective who gets really tangled up in this stuff. Spiritually, we're actually fine with whatever happens. It's for the experience that our spiritual self has come into that. So yeah, if you've been sort of feeling like you'd like to meet up with somebody who's a true soul connection, whether you call that a twin flame or a soulmate or whatever, words and terms aren't that important, but a very strong connection. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with them and with yourself, and you're going to do well. And you don't have to be perfectly healed, because as I said earlier, in isolation we can heal a certain amount and feel great, but our buttons aren't getting pushed when we're single. That'll only happen once we get back into another relationship. And yeah, so yeah, perfection, it's not required to have a good relationship. The strongest couples, the people with the strongest bonds I know, I've got friends who have fantastic relationships, are actually people who are very honest with each other. And they talk about what's going on, and they talk through it, and they communicate. And that's why they're still together a long time later, you know. So please don't ever put that kind of pressure on yourself. I really struggle with that in this spiritual community, especially online. People are really being pressured to be something they're not, or to be perfect, or not to have feelings, and not to feel scared or angry or sad. All of those feelings happen for a reason, and they're not bad. It's what we do with them that matters. If we're angry because somebody's done something crappy towards us, and we say, hey, look, I'm actually quite angry about that right now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you start yelling and screaming and giving them a hard time, yeah, that's not such a good thing to do with that emotion of anger, but expressing it is okay. So yeah, drop the perfection label. Nobody needs it. It's not necessary. Love yourself and your humanity. And yeah, if you want to attract a soulmate or whatever, you can do that right now. So be positive on that and be clear on that. So 2019 is a very powerful creative energy. It's a number 3. So it's a powerful time for creating what you really want, what you have envisioned for yourself, and to put that out there. So if you want a true, deep, committed, loving soulmate, twin flame type of relationship, put that out there and have a feel as to what that would look like and how would that would feel for you, and put it out there. Who knows, you may be surprised and you may meet that person. But anyway, this is just a quick video I wanted to make just to get that cleared up a little bit, because it concerns me that people are trying so hard to make themselves perfect before they're allowed to have a relationship. It worries me, because I think it's quite sad. So anyway, lots of love to you all. Have a wonderful 2019. I will see you in my next video, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Lots of love, and see you next time.